welcome back to another video. Today I do have an unboxing a little bit later, but first I want to share, I have like a show and tell type piece. I have some pieces of art that I want to showcase, and I'll explain that. Recently I went to a Fan Expo Philly here in Philadelphia. It's a comic show that was here. I was only able to go one night. I went Friday evening for a couple hours, which is fine. Now, the Fan Expo shows are good. They usually have they do have a selection of solid artists, guest list, but it's very like pop culture and not as like vendors aren't really like comics focused. It's pops. It's like cosplay equipment. It's just a random. It's not my type of convention that I would want to go to for the whole weekend. But anyway, I was able to head down there for a couple hours on Friday, and I actually didn't spend any money at the show. There were things that I had arranged to pick up from the artists, the few artists that I saw while I was there. So one of the artists that that was there is Jonathan Glapion, who is a longtime inker on Greg Capullo's work, who now he's working on his own Spawn title called No Home Here, which I forget when exactly that comes out, but that's a title that he's working on currently. So it's good to see him stretch his legs and get a penciling gig. I think he's actually doing pencil inking, and I think he's coloring that comic too. I'm not sure. But yeah, I love his style. I've loved his style for years, as far as he started doing his commissions, and it's evolved since then, but it looks great. Looking forward to that book. But I didn't pick up any of that art when I was at the show. I picked up some art from Greg Capullo. Now, these are some pages that I had, Greg Capullo work is not inexpensive, but, through both through Greg and his wife Jamie, and then also Jonathan and his wife Tara, they do payment plans for when you purchase their art, which I love. I mean, it's a win-win. You're able to support artists directly, and they'll do a payment plan, which makes things much more manageable. So these are some pages that I had paid off, and then we arranged to that I would just pick them up at the show instead of having them shipped. So I have two pages here from the same project, and I'll talk a little bit about that. So after Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo, after they left DC, the Batman titles, after Death Metal, they did their own, creator-owned project called We Have Demons, and Jonathan Glapion inked that as well. And it was at its core, it's a heaven versus hell story. But the idea is that, so we'll boil it down without give you like the 2-minute synopsis without giving too much away. So the idea of the story is that there are these a long time ago there were these two unknown elements that came to Earth. Elements they're referred to them as Halo and Horn. So Horn is a substance that just corrupts, and it was lying deep under the crust, but it was waiting for a species that was corruptible enough that they could, corrupt them and then turn them into demons. So, and then there was Halo, which is an element that they were able to forge weapons out of that they could fight the demons. And the idea is that no more Halo had come to the Earth since the first time there was like a big chunk that came, and then but there's more Horn that's coming from deep space and like meteorites and stuff like that's still arriving on Earth. So essentially, the demons have unlimited resources, and the humans who are dedicated to fighting the demons have very limited resources. And as those humans died off and their weapons were destroyed, it's depleting resources versus unlimited resources in the demons. So we start with, there is a character that we first introduce, and actually what I have here is the first page of issue 1. It's her name is Lamb Cullen. So what we have here is you get the left page, just a lot of words, kind of setting up the world that we're in. I mean, not fully setting up the world, but introducing Lamb and what she's doing here. It's a nice preface into a sneak peek into the world that we're visiting. So the idea is that the hook is that Lamb is here to introduce these. She's talking about these like god folk, very kind, young couple, who they talks about how kind they are, and that when they bought this house, they bought it from this old woman named Bess, and she was an artist, had nowhere else to go, no other family. So they let her stay in the house after they bought it. It's just setting up that they're just these really kind people. And so Bess is an artist. The one thing I found humorous about this is the one thing that the only art that Bess currently produces are these like demonic looking, like melting phallic statues, which is, again, it's just a visual cue that like this couple, nice sweet old lady Bess, creating these like demonic looking phallic statues that, spoiler alert, they're demons. So it's setting up the fact that Lamb is here to kill these people, and then you're like, oh, well, like what? And then it kind of launches into the story. So I just, this was when it comes to Capullo pages, this one wasn't as expensive, but I like the fact that it's a page one. I remember reading or listening to like I think it was a podcast that Scott Snyder did, but talking about the importance of page ones. And I always thought it would be kind of cool to pick up a page one of his, because of the thought that he puts into it. And I just like the setup that it gives you like a tease, because it's subverting your expectations, because there's this nice young couple that saying how kind they are, and then you have Lamb, who's an innocent enough looking young woman, and the idea that she's like, okay, talks about how kind they are, and then goes through what they did for Bess, and then she's like, and now I have to kill them, and you're like, what? So it's just a good, nice fun hook when it comes to page one starting off of a series. So so I got that one, and then I have another page from the same issue, but it's later on in the issue. So Lamb, spoiler alert, they were, as I said, demons. Lamb kind of has a run-in with them, and then she's introduced to this character called Gus. And I'll show this, and then we'll talk more about it. So Gus kind of comes on the scene, and because Lamb is in over her head, and then Gus takes care of the demons, and then introduces himself to Lamb. And throughout the issue, you talk about Lamb's father was one of these demon hunters, and she learns that Gus was her father's partner, and then they kind of, the story is that Lamb and Gus then team up, and he introduces her to the world of the kind of the demon hunters, and then the story progresses from there. But this scene is Gus hands Lamb essentially her halo weapon, which is forged out of it's a prosthetic hand that her father had made for her before he passed away, which is part of this issue they talk about. But he had made this weapon for her in the event that she would ever join the cause. So I also like that. So you get Lamb and Gus meeting. You get Lamb getting her halo weapon, and then you also get Bess, the old lady who creates the phallic statues. You get her coming downstairs while she's transforming into a demon herself. So you get this transformation page of, she's already started turning there, but then you get, she turns into a demon, and then they go from there. And this is like right at the end of the next page is the last page of the issue. So I really enjoyed. There was a 3-issue story. I don't know if I mentioned that before. So 3 issues, but they're oversized issues. A lot of fun, great artwork in there for sure. But it was a fairly self-contained 3 issues. It definitely sets things up for they could do a future chapter 2 or volume 2 if they decide. But I do like how even as things are left, it's a solid, fun story. So I would recommend reading that if you're not aware of it, or it's on Comixology. It was when Scott Snyder made his deal with to do a bunch of original comics through like creator-owned comics through Comixology, and this was one of the projects that I think this was one of the ones that came out first to kind of launch that partnership. But yeah, they're available on Comixology Unlimited. You can read them for free. Dark Horse then did also print them later on, so there are physical copies out there as well. So really fun. I'd recommend it. I'm glad to get these two examples from issue 1 in my collection. So I think what I'll do next is the unboxing. So so this is from, I did a trade with a friend of mine. So I knew that he had this, and then let me get it open and we'll talk about what it is and then why I specifically targeted what he had. What I traded to get this was, I'll pop that up here. I had some Lex Luthor Ramona Fradon pieces that I actually have had a couple Lex Luthor pieces from Ramona Fradon, and the friend Daniel Burtis, he is a Lex Luthor collector. He had wanted a piece of Lex in his power armor. Unfortunately, Ramona passed away, so that was no longer possible. Since I had two, I have another one of that one, which is more like kind of like a nod to his look in Crisis on Infinite Earths. But I had a 6x6 Lex Luthor, and then I also had an inked copy that Joe Rubinstein inked a Blue Line copy of. So I traded those two pieces to Daniel, the two 6x6s, and he sent me this, which is, let me pop it out of here, and then it is actually I'll show you. So if you're familiar at all with what Greg Capullo does, what his process is, he sells what they call them grab bag sketches, and what they are, you never know what you're gonna get, and a lot of times they are his prelims for his page layouts, be it panel pages, splash pages, covers. Sometimes he does just some like a head sketch or just warm up type stuff, design work, all that kind of stuff. This is a page from Death Metal, and I'll pop it up there. Yeah. What I love about these sketches is when you first look at them, if you don't know the story, you don't know what it's from, he tells you like what it is. It's Death Metal 4, page 6. If you don't know what you're looking at, sometimes it's very hard to determine what you're looking at, because they're very, he gets the shapes and the forms and the angles, perspectives. He gets that all kind of laid out in this form. So the details don't need to be there. It's just getting the approach to the page down on a thumbnail that he then can use to do the actual work. So so what I specifically targeted this one because I knew Daniel had it, and it's kind of fun because Daniel got this from Capullo's website, and as luck would have it for his sake, there actually is a Luthor connection in the fourth panel. There's a skull there that's actually Alexander Luthor from Infinite Crisis. Crisis on Infinite Earths. So, yeah. Anyway, so the reason why I really wanted this one is because the other page that I picked up from Glapion, the Glapions when I was at Fan Expo Philly, was that page. It was the Superboy Prime, the reveal of Superboy Prime in the Death Metal series. So this is the prelim that Capullo did, and then this is the actual page. So what I was talking about was that skull is Alexander Luthor. So it was kind of fitting that Daniel got a grab bag sketch that had a Luthor connection. but I think he recognized, once I told him, I was like, I'm gonna get the page, um, and Daniel has after he got this grab bag sketch, he bought a Lex Luthor page from Death Metal as well, which is awesome. So then they kind of made this expendable for his from his point of view. Yeah. So this page, I like that it's like that great kind of powerful image of like not power, but like big reveal image of Superboy Prime, and I enjoy the character of Superboy Prime. I there's the controversy surrounding him, how people don't like how they turned him into the villain of Infinite Crisis. But I always thought that the reasoning for his villainous turn made sense to me in the sense of comics. So at the end of Crisis on Infinite Earths, like when he kind of goes away into that paradise dimension with Earth 2, Superman and Lois, I thought it made sense that after that, comics continued to get darker. So I thought it was I thought his character arc was a good commentary on comics in general. So there were people who did not like that, the darker tone of the characters that were introduced into like the 90s, 2000s. So I thought using Superboy Prime as the voice of those individuals who did not like that darker turn in the characters, that heroes were no longer acting heroically. I thought that was a good context or a good setup to then turn him into a villain to try to restore things back to how they should be. Now I think they took his villainy a little too far. Especially after once he got into like the Sinestro Corps, he was like straight up just monstrous evil. Now he was a villain in Infinite Crisis, killed Superboy, but it was like the next level beyond the reasons of why he initially went down this kind of villainous path. I compared a lot to Parallax and how Hal Jordan had these noble reasons for doing what he was doing, but he just went too far, and he was clearly a villain at that point in time. So there's parallels, I think, in those character arcs. But in Death Metal, this is the essentially it's the Infinite Crisis version of Superboy Prime. It's not the like the later Sinestro Corps Beyond kind of version of Superboy Prime. So it's still that his motives are still tied to his reasoning in Infinite Crisis, essentially. And I just, obviously I'm a big fan of Superman related characters. I love that Wonder Woman is on this page. Wonder Woman's essentially the main character of Death Metal. And then you get, Superboy Prime in his anti-monitor armor type getup. Get him in the Fortress of Solitude. It's just a really great, and it's a Carl type of page. You get the nice big splashy image with some storytelling panels as well, and it's just right up my alley. So this one, I had seen this one listed on the Glapion's website for for a while, and every so often they'd run sales, and I would kind of target some other things, and finally I landed on this one. I was like, okay, it's time to I gotta make this one happen. So I did a payment plan, got a hold of it, and now thrilled that I did. But also, if you remember a couple of videos ago, when talking about the Death Metal and the soundtrack that was created to kind of go along with the story, in there was a trading card, and the trading card was Superboy Prime. Now the trading card is actually pulled from the published image of that page. So that image of Superboy Prime is what they use for the trading card. So I like when art is used for different reasons, different purposes. So and now to have the prelim the card, this page. Now, whether I do it or not, I envision framing them all together. I think they would tell a really fun story. I always wanted, from the beginning when I knew that, I mean, I have a couple different grab bag sketches from Greg Capullo, and I always thought it would be awesome to have one of the grab bag sketches paired with the published page. So it all kind of just came together. Like, this was a great opportunity to have a page that was used for something else in a trading card, have the prelim that I can pair with the page. It just tells a really fun, cool story. So I mean, it would be a big frame, and I'm not against framing a bunch of things together, but you can only do it so often. But I think this might be a case where I can get the maybe a copy of the page, the actual published page from the comic. Get that. We'll see. We'll see how I do that, but definitely include the page, the prelim, and the card. That might be the way to go. But anyway, so that's all that I have for today. Kind of all over the place, but all connected with through like Greg Capullo art. So a big thanks to Tara and Jonathan Glapion. So when I was at the show, Jonathan was doing a panel, and I've met them both, he and his wife Tara, at shows before. Really great to talk to. So Jonathan was at a panel, and when I went to the show, I had two goals to see, two artist tables to go to. This one and another one, which I'll show you what I got from that artist at another time. But anyway, so I was there for a couple hours and really only spent time at both of those tables. So I stood there talking to Tara for over an hour, like maybe an hour and a half, just talking about just a bunch of stuff. Like I love being able to connect with artists, and just, you know, it's not to sound like corny or cheesy, but it's just like people talking to people. Like, it's you meet these people because they're associated with the art that you enjoy, but it's still connecting on again, it sounds like corny, but it's like a human level, just meeting these people. And I like being able to do that. I like it adds meaning to the art. It creates another connection to the art through the people that created it. So, yeah, I thought it was fun. I really enjoyed talking to Tara, and then Jonathan came back, and we were chatting some more. So yeah, I love that. So yeah, I don't know where else I was going with that, but ultimately, much with connecting with people that watch these videos, you just meet other people through your appreciation of art. Be that other, be it the artists, be it fellow collectors. It's a lot of fun. So, I mean, the only thing I can say is along those lines, if anyone out there is watching that, like, it's very easy to just, like, I'm recording this on my iPad. I have it set up. It's very easy to just point your iPad at yourself or whatever and just hit record and start talking. I love being able to share stories about why I pick up the things that I do and why they're important to me, or why they're fun to me or interesting. And I know that's not, everyone doesn't have the same level of interest, connection, whatever, to the art that I unbox and show. But that's what I love about the hobby. Like, we all have different things that we enjoy, and I love hearing the stories behind them. So if you ever, I can just encourage people to give this a shot. Like, create a video and just share what it is, even if it's just like a piece you already have in your collection. You just want to talk about the art. Just do it. I think it's fun to kind of share those stories and get more content out on YouTube, and hear different stories about art. And it's fun. So strongly recommend anybody that is interested in doing that. I'm happy to answer any questions if anybody is hesitant on, like, well, how do I do it? What do I do? What programs do I use? I just ask me. It's very simple. So anyway, yeah, I'll end it there. So thank you very much for watching this one, and I will see you soon.